Hi everyone, it's Don and I hope you're having a fantastic day. Well, you know what? Often when I go on a cruise ship and I'm filming live and I'm reporting out here on the cruise line and the cruise ship, I get bad news about that cruise line and I have to report it while I'm having a good time on the cruise ship, which is really weird. But hey, guess what? I'm on Holland America, I'm on the Rotterdam, I'm having a good time. And I got some good news about Holland America today. That's right, Holland America now has almost all of her ships up and running. I think there's only 2 ships not currently running, and they will be up and running by the end of June, possibly. The reason I'm saying possibly is because they have their ship is helping Ukrainian refugees. So I got a couple of good news stories about that. One, all reports from the Red Cross and everything saying that the people on Holland America ship, the refugees on board, are extremely happy and glad to be there. And to such a point where other areas that the Red Cross are looking after, people are wishing that they were on the Rotterdam instead of in the facilities they're put in, because let's face it, cruise ships are set up to be luxury cruise lines, right? It's a luxury trip and everything, and they were going a little overboard in the way they were treating the people on board, so much so that it seemed a little unfair to people who weren't on the ship. So they actually had to pull back a little bit of what they were doing on board. But there's a lot of Ukrainian crew members on board as well, and so they were just going completely above and beyond. And one of the really interesting things, if you're ever on a cruise ship and you're walking around and you what you won't see is crew members on their phones and showing people stuff on their phones and and with passengers. You don't see that. But they were seeing this on board the ships, and they were about to say something to the crew member saying, hey, this is not, you're not supposed to do this, until they realized what they were doing. They were using Google Translate to make sure that they could communicate with the refugees on board. And out of, I think there's some like 1,200 refugees on board. Of that, there's like 500 children. So that's a great news story. Not because of the situation that made them go there, just to know that some people are being looked after. Great. Well done. And there's a couple cruise lines involved in this. And I'm on the Rotterdam, and we just were talking about that at dinner last night with some people who were in the know on the situation. So I just thought I'd bring that up. Good situation. All right, everybody. Well, I said there were 2 good stories, and this one counts for everybody who's thinking about or who have booked a Holland America cruise. It definitely will affect every single one of you out there. But before I get there, I'm going to ask you to do me a favor, and if you haven't done so already, maybe hit that subscribe button to keep up to date with all things cruising, from cruise vlogs to cruise news to good stories to bad stories, all about the cruising industry. It really helps the channel out. It doesn't sign you up for anything. You're not going to get a ton of emails. And by the way, please check if you are subscribed that you're still subscribed, because sometimes YouTube just decides to go and randomly unsubscribe people. They don't do it, I don't do it, it just happens. So I'd appreciate it to make sure you're still on the notification list and still have that subscribe button clicked, because I got some good news from Holland America. Just extended its Cruise with Confidence policy. In other words, if for any reason you decide you want to cancel your cruise, even though final payments has gone by, as long as you're further out than 30 days, you can get a 100% future cruise credit. So, you know, normally it's 90 days to pay off your cruise, so that still gives you 60 days where you can, worst case scenario, you get a future cruise credit for a cruise later on in the future. Now, this is good for all bookings right up until September of this year. and it's good for all sailings now until the end of the year. So any ship sailing the rest of this year is covered. And that also comes with the COVID protection as well, which means if you test positive on the way to a cruise ship, you will be eligible for the same thing, 100% of a future cruise credit. If your partner or people you're traveling with do the same thing, you get 100% future cruise credit. So yeah, it's the policy, considering right now some of the companies now are starting to cut back on their service if you catch COVID. Thankfully, majority of them are still offering really good protection. I was just on Princess Cruise Lines. They still have their Cruise with Confidence policy. And I'm hoping that the rest of the cruise lines out there follow Holland America's example and extend it completely till the end of this year. And then we'll see where we are with the way the world is with COVID. And we'll get through another fall and winter to see. Like I said, I'm on this ship now, and because of the situation on the cruise before this one, we ended up having to put masks on this cruise. It's inconvenient, and I will say I don't like it. I don't like wearing my mask, but I understand the reasoning behind it. So it's good to see that they're doing that Cruise with Confidence, because if I hear that a cruise line is implementing the mask policy again, and I got 45 days before my cruise, I may cancel that cruise and postpone it and move my cruise to future cruise credits and move to another cruise later on in the year or into next year, just because I don't want to wear a mask. And if that starts becoming a thing again, I want to have that flexibility to move my cruise. So good news, Holland America treating, from all accounts from the Red Cross and social media that I've seen, the refugees are really being looked after from Ukraine. Hats off to the cruise ships that are out there and the crew members that are out there doing a fantastic job, as well as the increasing and going till the end of the year with that policy that now protects you from COVID, as well as you can just move your cruise for any reason and receive future cruise credits for it up till 30 days before your cruise. I kind of wish it was a little even further, like 15 days, 10 days. However, you have to understand that's a situation out there where you just never know, right? You just never know what's going to happen. And the cruise lines have to have some kind of guarantee that they're going to, they can't all of a sudden have a third of the people just decide to cancel 15 days before the cruise. And they have to make room for that on future cruise credit, like future cruises that cost money. And so I do understand the reasoning. 30 days is a step in the right direction. Well, I hope you appreciate this update. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. We'll see more tips, more tricks, more travel vlogs from around the world. Hit that subscribe button. Until next time, have yourself a safe and a great vacation.